what is the order for this family?
Coleoptera.
Yes, Coleoptera. Okay, so Cucleonid. Weevil is a Coleoptera. Beetles also Coleoptera. So Xylus formicarius is specialized on sweet potato, meaning that dia attack on the for the larvae, they attack on the tuber. Sweet potato yang kamu makan tu ubi keledek, bukan ubi kentang, ubi keledek. Okay, for the adult, they feed on leaf, stem and tuber. So this is the damage of symptoms. So meaning that if you want to find this Xylus formicarius for your sample, for example, you have to find their host first lah. So the host is sweet potato. So the adult is free living, meaning that they can roaming around the area of the plant, feed on leaf, stem, and also feed on the tuber itself. But when we are talking about larvae, which is the one that burrow ataupun menggali dalam tuber, so meaning that you have to found the sweet potato tuber tu baru boleh dapat dia punya larvae, okay, as well as pupae. So the infested tuber will riddle with cavities and spongy in appearance and dark in color. Meaning that kalau kamu beli sweet potato, the outer part or the outside part, kamu nampak dia macam complete sweet potato. But the thing is, when this sweet potato is infested by this Xylus formicarius, so kat dalam tu sebenarnya dia adalah spongy. If you press rather than hard kan, sweet potato tu dia dah jadi sponge sebab kat dalam tu dah kena tebuk. And then selalunya the colour, okay, also change lah, become the darker. Okay, kalau katalah you buy the one with colour purple tu, so dia punya range of colour mungkin dari dark purple dia akan jadi a bit more darker, mungkin more toward brown. Okay, so itu adalah dia punya damage or symptoms that you can found when infestation Xylus formicarius on the sweet potato weevil. And then inside the tuber itself, you can see the tunnel. Okay, kalaulah kira dia punya infestation tu is not yet severe, so there is a tunnel inside the tuber. Okay, so and then the larvae also sometimes scrap the stem. So rather than only on tuber, there are also possibility that the adult may lay eggs on dekat stem, but the main host ataupun the main habitat is actually on the inside the tuber. So for the biology, usually this weevil, they lay egg singly. Maksudnya singly adalah satu-satu. It doesn't mean that they lay eggs only one eggs per cycle. So it may be more than one eggs per cycle. It's just that it's lay singly. Maksudnya satu kat sini later, and then maybe at the horizontal part ke dia akan lay eggs lagi satu. So dia bukan setumpuk And then usually the adult will scratch the surface of the area where they want to lay eggs. Okay, bila dia scratch and then they insert dia punya eggs dekat tempat yang dia scratch. And the development of time is between 5 to 12 days, meaning development of the eggs. And then when the eggs hatch, the larvae will directly burrow into the tuber, since tadi the mother atau the adult dah scratch kan tempat yang dia lay eggs. So once the eggs hatch, larvae tu akan terus directly menggali ke dalam tuber or the stem where tempat dia hatch lah. So that's why I said if the adult lay eggs on the stem, so there is a possibility dan larvae tu akan menggali masuk dalam stem, but the main habitat is actually on the tuber or inside the tuber. And the larvae Okay, of course legless, meaning dia tak ada kaki lah. Usually white in colours and display 3 insta, meaning that they molt 3 times. Okay, 3 insta meaning from the first stage of larvae and then they molt, become the second stage of larvae 3 times maksudnya ada 3 insta, ada 3 peringkat larvae. And then during duration of each insta is different. Okay, depending on the sometimes depending on the photo period, sometimes depending on the temperature. So you can see here the range is between 8 to 16, 12 to 21, 35 to 56 days. So this meaning that first insta, second insta and then third insta. And the pupae usually similar in adult appearance, maksudnya dia ada semua bahagian anggota badan like adult. It's just that the colour usually is white and then of course they not actively move around. So selalunya dia akan duduk di tempat je. Usually during this time they don't eat. Okay. For larvae of course they eat lah. Mother also or the adult also eat, but the pupae usually didn't eat, but the if we look at the morphology, it's almost similar as the adult. Cumanya dia warna putih and then mungkin there are certain part macam like wing yang tu part tu tak develop lah, but the main characteristic is almost similar like adult. And for the adult, they have striking color. Okay, striking meaning that there are some colors yang mungkin bright in colors like yellow, red. Okay, here for cuclionate, you have to remember that this group of weevil, they have long rostrum or beak. Maksudnya dia ada kepala extension of the mouth part, which is a long rostrum kita panggil. Okay, and the head black and the antenna, thorax and leg orange to reddish brown, and the abdomen and elytra are metallic blue. So that's why we said it is as a colorful. Okay, this is the picture of the damage as well as the picture of the adult larvae and also the pupae. Okay, so this is one is the pupae. It's white in color. Okay, it has almost similar characteristic like adult. Cumanya dia tak move around and doesn't feed during this time lah. Okay, this is the damage. Like I said, you can see the tunnel. Okay, if and then if the infestation is severe, so kamu dah tak nampak dapat yang color purple, which is yang hardened part ni, is more become a spongy part. So dia dah jadi banyak lubang-lubang lagi lah if the infestation is severe. Okay, so one tuber, it may have more than one tunnel. Maksudnya more than one individual can live inside this tuber lah. Okay, this is the characteristic. Like I said, dia punya body is actually metallic and then bright in color. There are certain part like thorax, antenna, legs, and this one is actually metallic dark blue. Dia punya color of elytra. Okay, life cycle. Life cycle here is actually a total life cycle. It's it can be between 21 to 33 days. Okay, and to control, for chemical, there are a few chemical like spinosad and azidaractin. Okay, spinosad is a synthetic chemical. Meanwhile, azidaractin is actually more like organic chemical from Azidarata indica, which is pokok mambu. And then for the cultural, it's more easier. You can remember it's actually sanitation. So sanitation maksudnya you clean the area. So how to clean the area? Remove the host, remove the host material, the one that macam katalah unharvested tuber, there might be some part yang tuber yang kecil-kecil. So instead of harvest, you left there. So it can become a host material for these insects. And so for sanitation, you need to discard all these things and then also discard the alternate host. Okay, alternate host, since sweet potato is actually Ipomia, keluarga Ipomia, which is species Ipomia batatas. Okay, so any Ipomia weed, termasuklah your kangkung, okay, in Ipomia aquatica, okay, can become the alternate host for this weevil. Okay, so Ipomia weed meaning all the plant that fall under this genus lah. And for biological control, since remember when we are talking about potato tuber, sweet potato tuber, meaning that benda tu duduk dalam soil. Okay, so for the chemical tadi, you may need to spray the area with or the planted area so that it can kill the adult. But if you want to target the the larvae, okay, so for biological control, there are a few strain of nematode. Okay, nematode is actually a worm, okay, cacing ataupun kita kata unsegmented worm, which is memang ada free living in the soil. So there are a few of strain like here Stenonema carpocarpse ni, okay, and then can be used to attack this sweet potato, especially in the one yang in form of larvae or pupae yang ada dalam tuber and then inside the soil. Okay, so that's how the biological control work lah. So but it's just that for the biological control, you have to remember that there are a few limitations where kita tak boleh control this kind of organism. Okay, so kalau dia nak serang lah, kalau dia tak nak makan, so it cannot be maksudnya biological control is good, it's just that we cannot control the effect. Okay, and second one we have gold weevil, okay, Hypomesus squamosus. Since weevil juga ada punya nama, so in the same family, Cucleonid, where you can imagine that the adult of course has rostrum and it's beetle kan, so dia ada elytra, so all the characteristics of beetle dia ada kat sini. It's just that tambah dia punya beak tu tadi, okay, rostrum. And for the gold weevil, okay, kenapa dia dapat nama gold? It's actually due to the color of the adult. It's almost glitter like a gold. Maksudnya dia ada scale that seolah-olah kamu nampak dia macam glitter. Later we will see the picture. But for the damage, adult is the defoliator. Okay, defoliator meaning that they eat on the leaf. Okay, especially the part where the young part, yeah, like young shoot or tender leaf, and they usually eat, okay, from the edge inward. Maksudnya dari tepi daun and then makan sampai ke tengah dia punya vein. Okay, and only the softer tissue between the vein are eaten on the older leaf. So meaning that sometimes they also eat on the older leaf. It's just that you can imagine the in area where yang kurang venation lah. Okay, and the host for this insect is a lot. Okay, maksudnya dia banyak. It can eat any type of plant, but it's preferred large tree like fruit tree. Okay, like mango, guava, jackfruit, rambutan, citrus, and usually, okay, this damage or this pest infest during nursery. Maksudnya waktu katalah kalau kamu nak tanam, kamu nak jual pokok anak pokok mango ke kan, we usually have a certain area where we call it nursery. Okay, so that waktu tu still duduk dalam polybag, meaning that pokok tu mungkin tak ditanam atas tanah lagi. So usually this pest infested during this time lah, at where the plant still in the nursery. So the variety of plant like mango, guava, jackfruit, rambutan, citrus, so all the large tree fruits. It's not specialized on vegetable. And for the biology, also laid singly, okay, but they lay in soil rather than on the host. They lay in soil, and the larva usually stored grayish white. Okay, and these larvae, since they live on the soil. So you can imagine that the larvae, instead of feed on the plant itself, feed on the leaf, they feed on the root. Since root yang ada dekat dalam tanah, right? So for the roots, it may eat the root of the host, or it may eat the root of the weeds yang ada di kawasan sekitar lah. So it doesn't, maksudnya when we are talking about gold weevil damage, the most damage is actually observed in the adult stage, okay, rather than the larvae stages. Since larvae stages, bila dia duduk kat luar, mungkin dia makan just akar pokok, akar weed kan. So the damage tu kita tak boleh kesan, except for the adult. And for the pupa also occur in soil, and development time is between 10 to 15 days. So the adult, like I said previously, the name gold weevil come because of the color that or glitter form yang ada dekat adult. Okay, so usually the color between metallic green to blue-green scale, okay, dust with orange powdering, and they are sexually dimorphic, meaning that you can separate the adult male and female depending on their color. Okay, usually male covered with long, fine, erect pubescence. Pubescence meaning maksudnya ada bulu-bulu, okay, which is absent in male. Okay, the size is 15 mm in length. Okay, this is the picture of adult. So the one that you can see usually yang color more bright is actually male, and the one yang less bright usually is a female. Okay, so here dia punya beak, you can see the extension of the head, maksudnya kepala dia tu macam memanjang, okay, which is where we call it beak here. Okay, instead of antenna dia duduk between the eyes, okay, like other insects or like other beetle, but this one dia duduk, the antenna is actually dekat area of mouth part. So tu adalah characteristic of the weevil. Okay, so life cycle here, it can be shorter, it can be longer depending on the area where they live lah. Okay, like I said tadi, suhu atau other environmental parameter influence their life cycle. Okay, to control, there are only two methods here since biological is unknown. So either you can use chemical like carbaryl, chlorpyrifos, diazinon, and also a cultural like crop sanitation like tadi lah. But of course, crop sanitation too, you can do many things. Remove the host, remove the alternate host, not remove the host, remove the alternate host, and then do cleaning at the area, and then remove maybe the dead trees or dead part of the trees and so on. So tu adalah fall under crop sanitation. And okay, don't for now, don't panic since you see the name of chemical also, carbaryl, chlorpyrifos, diazinon, and so on too. Later we will learn about the chemical. I think at the end of our lecture 14, I think, classification, if I'm not mistaken, classification of the pesticide. Okay, so now we have the third one, which also the weevil, okay, Cosmopolite sordidus. Okay, nama pun kat sini banana weevil. So it's specialized on banana plant. Bukan, but now instead of focusing on fruits, okay, this weevil is actually attack the tree. Okay, bukan buah bukan buah pisang, but it's actually a tree. So the damage and symptom, the larvae is borer, so meaning that you can imagine dia boleh menggali masuk ke dalam trunk. Okay, the larvae make several longitudinal tunnel in the surface tissue until they are able to penetrate to adjacent inner leaf shaft. Okay, kenapa kat sini maksud I'm not sure whether you realize yang kalau kamu tengok pokok pisang, okay, dia sebenarnya ada pelepah, we call it pelepah kan. So batang dia tu terdiri daripada a few leaf shaft. Okay, maksudnya dia berlapis-lapis instead of like a tree trunk yang biasa lah. Okay, so this insect mula-mula dia akan make tunnel longitudinal. Okay, and then kalau dia boleh penetrate to another, dia akan masuk ke dalam lagi. So starting from the outside leaf shaft, dia akan masuk ke dalam until the pseudostem base ataupun kita kata rhizome. Okay, the infested plant usually have dull yellow, green and floppy foliage, meaning that bila dia tunnel masuk ke dalam batang, okay, like unlike other plant, okay, this banana usually dia absorb macam dia angkut banyak moisture atau banyak air. So let's say kalau dah kawasan batang tu kena infest ataupun kena tebuk, buat lubang kan. So you can imagine that source of water tu dah tak sampai dekat daun. So daun dia akan jadi menguning, and after menguning mungkin dia punya foliage, okay, dia floppy ni maksudnya instead of tegak, you can imagine like pokok pisang which is yang segar, daun dia akan how to say, dia akan macam toward ke atas instead of jatuh ke bawah tau dia punya daun. So floppy meaning that macam dia layu lah. Okay. And then for the biology, the female lay eggs on a rhizome and the development of eggs is around 7 days. The larvae, of course, the color of larvae is white. The head capsule dark reddish brown. The last of the abdominal segment modified into plate-like structure, giving chopped off appearance. Okay, nanti kita tengok that part. Okay, and then larvae develop between 25 to 37 days. And then pupae develop around 9 days. And adult usually dark brown to grey black and also shining. It's almost like a metallic. Okay, about 11 mm long, and the tibia armed with hook-like extension, and the development of adult between 9 to 10 days. Okay, this is the picture of the banana beetle. Okay, you can see this one is dia punya rostrum is very obvious. Okay, nampak kan? Ni dia punya mata somewhere here, and then after the mata, extent of the mouth part. Okay, and then antenna located on the rostrum. This is the characteristic of the beetle. And the body also punctured. Kalau kamu tengok kat sini, punctured maksudnya dia ada how to say, dia macam ada lubang-lubang tau. Instead of smooth, it's actually ada lubang-lubang halus atas dia punya thorax and other part of the body. And then if you look at the elytra here, there is a striae. I think I mean macam dia ada lurah-lurah. Okay, this is the characteristic of Cosmopolites sordidus. And this is the picture of the larvae. Okay, dia punya bentuk macam ni, stored, and then the eggs, and this is the one or the damage on the banana. So for usually, okay, for the adult, it will lay eggs at the base, maksudnya part dekat area tuber ni. And then the larvae, it can move around lah, mungkin naik ke atas atau sometimes the more severe one, dia akan turun more deeper into the tuber ni. Maksudnya turun lagi jauh ke dalam tuber. So at the end, pokok pisang akan mati. Okay, so the total life cycle, eggs to pupae is around 41 to 53 days. And to control, you can use a Clyphoriphos and cultural, use trap, and then use uninfested planting material, meaning that before you start planting your banana plant, selalunya kita akan tanam through tuber bukan orang tak tanam pisang dengan seed So through tuber maksudnya mungkin kamu dapat tuber tu dari infested area. So you have to clean the tuber, maksudnya if possible dapatkan tuber yang asalnya pokok tu not yet infested. Okay, and then the old comb, katalah kalau kamu nak replant in the same area, so comb yang ada kat dalam tanah tu need to be removed. And then good husbandry practice, meaning you clean the area and so on lah. This one is sanitation, do the sanitation, clean weeding, manuring and mulching. And for biological, there are a few predators, meaning that beneficial insect like Hysterid. Okay, Hysterid is actually Hysteridae, also a beetle. And then Staphylinid, okay. Yang ni salah je, Staphylinid L ada kat sini, PHYLI. Staphylinide and also the Marptera. Staphylinide, remember we have Charlie, okay, kan sebelum ni kita tengok yang saya kata Charlie tu. This one is the family of the the Charlie tadi, Staphylinide. Ada L kat sini. PHYLINID. And Dermaptera is the another order. Okay, remember the one yang saya kata dia punya earwigs, okay, dia punya shape of wing macam ear, macam kita punya telinga. Okay, so tu adalah Dermaptera, remember. Okay, now we have another weevil, which is the one that live inside the mango fruits. Okay, kadang kita beli buah pelam kan, nampak cantik kat luar, but tiba-tiba buka kat dalam, it's actually infested with insects, with a lot of tunnel, kadang more dah become macam spongy and mungkin ada hitam-hitam and so on tu kan, a lot of frost and so on. That is caused by this one, Stenocytus frigidus, okay, mango pulp weevil, meaning that they eat the pulp of the fruits. So the damage, of course, you only can see on the fruits lah. So jangan pula cari pergi dekat pokok kan. You cannot see from other part. Only on the fruit mango. And sometimes the damage cannot be seen from outside. Sometimes you can see there are a hole, a small hole, the sign of the oviposition area dekat mango. It's just that yang tu you have to have a lot of experience lah, otherwise you cannot see the sign of infestation or sign of the oviposition. Okay, sebabnya dia akan oviposit, this insect will oviposit the mango, usually the size, maksudnya waktu awal fruit set, okay, around the size of ping pong ball. Okay, so selalunya there are other cultural method, later I will explain to you how to control this kind of pest. Okay, for the biology, okay, the eggs laid singly, maksudnya dia tak akan lay banyak. Dia akan satu-satu on the surface, sama juga like the one previous one yang saya kata on potato. They the mother scratch the area and then insert dia punya telur dekat part yang dia scratch tadi. Okay, and then the colour first is opaque and then turn light yellow. Okay, and then this female also after they scratch put the eggs, and they also put some sort of protection, okay, like black sticky exudate to cover the eggs. Okay, and the size is around 0.4 mm long and 0.5 mm wide, hatch within 9.3 days. The larvae, once they hatch, akan enter masuk ke dalam young mango fruits. Okay, the how to say, the interesting thing about this insect is just that dia punya development stage is actually correspond ataupun synchronously with the development of the mango fruits. Okay, so maksudnya even though dia dah infest the mango fruit tadi, you can imagine that mango fruit tu juga still akan develop. Dia tak akan terus gugur. So dia akan develop sampai masak, but kat dalam tu dah infested by these insects. Okay. So inside this the mango, okay, the insect akan having dia punya metamorphosis in form of larvae, pupae, and then you may found adult yang ada kat dalam buah yang infested tadi. Since the adult only come out from the fruit around 37 days after emerge. So maksudnya dia dah emerge as adult inside the fruits. And then later baru akan dig tunnel which is suitable with their size untuk keluar dari the infested fruit. So usually if you see the one yang infested fruit where the adult dah already come out to the outside environment, so you may see the hole, ada lubang dekat buah tadi, infested fruit tadi, around 0.5 cm, okay, 0.5 cm, almost that size lah. So akan ada lubang sebesar tu dekat buah yang where the adult already emerged to the outside environment. Otherwise maksudnya kalau tak ada lagi when you buy the fruits yang dah infested tu tadi, kalau tak ada lubang tu maksudnya adult dia belum lagi keluar. It's still inside the fruits. And the adult is very hard body. Okay, so selalunya kalau kamu pegang dia atau try to squeeze dia, unless you put a lot of forces, barulah dia punya body akan pecah. Otherwise it's very hardened. Most of the cuclionid or most of the beetle actually ada very hard body. And the adult also black with brown patch on the elytra and legs. Okay, so instead of color brown sahaja, there are a few patches. Ada part yang color a bit blacker, a bit darker, and then there are also part yang you can see a bit lighter in color lah. Okay, this is the picture of the one that you may found on the infested mango. Okay, kalau kat luar ni nampak macam cantik je. Sometimes of course there are also sign of discoloration dekat fruit. So mungkin kamu nampak dia macam masak separuh kan, nampak kuning setempat and so on. But this is the picture of damage inside the fruit. Okay, you may see the larvae, you may see the pupae, you may see the adult at the same time. Maksudnya inside ni dia bukannya serentak lah, dia punya perkembangan ni bukan serentak. Kamu akan jumpa possibility untuk jumpa adult, jumpa pupae and larvae also. Okay, but the eggs is almost impossible since this insect dia sangat pandai. It will lay eggs like I said tadi. Waktu buah tu still size around ping pong ball, so that dia punya development of stage sama dengan development of this fruit. Maksudnya insect ni akan membesar sekali dengan buah tu membesar. So later bila buah tu dah masak, kan dia punya pulp akan jadi lembut kan, instead of kalau kamu boleh beza buah muda dia a bit harden, dia punya pulp tu keras kan, compare to the one yang dah masak, right? So this insect akan choose untuk keluar bila buah tu dah fully masak, otherwise dia punya development akan terbantu. That's why dia tak akan bertelur where the fruit is already large. Okay, usually they will lay eggs bila fruit tu masih lagi kecil sebab dia punya development of the larvae akan synchronously develop together with the fruits. So the life cycle is around 42 to 50 days from eggs to pupae. Okay, so almost kalau let's say kalau kamu tanam mango, okay, selalunya kalau dia berbunga around bulan 1, you will harvest it around fully harvested is around bulan 6, 7 kan. So around that month lah. So dia akan lay eggs waktu buah tu dah betul saiz pimpong. So maksudnya dia punya life cycle is shorter than the development of the fruit. And to control, you can use the phenytotion, deltametrin, dimethoate, cypermetrin. This one is actually to control the adult. Okay, sebab sebelum adult to lay eggs, dia akan roaming around the orchard, roaming around the area on the tree itself. Okay, so dia tunggu sampai buah tu the size is enough atau is suitable for them to lay eggs lah. And so during this time, you can control the adult using this chemical. For cultural, okay, you can cover the fruits. Like I said, you have to cover the fruits during ping pong ball size. Maksudnya bila size tu baru kamu cover. Kalau kamu cover awal, there is a possibility that buah kamu akan gugur lah due to the environmental factor sebab dia tak boleh develop and so on. But if you covered later, bila buah tu dah besar, there is a high chances that the fruits is already infested by this mango pulp weevil. So the most ideal timing is actually during the ping pong ball size. And of course, you do the orchard sanitation, discard the rotten fruit and falling logs, clear the area and so on. Since after the fruits fall, okay, the one that rotten tadi fall off, the adult will come out kan dari buah tu. So it will roaming in the area kalau kamu tak buang that rotten fruits lah. So that's how the cultural work. And for the biological is unknown because this one is actually infest inside the fruit. So you cannot use any biological control that can, that can penetrate inside the fruit. So that's why the biological is unknown. Otherwise, you have the biological method or biological animal or organism that can attack the adult or the eggs itself, where yang ada dekat, yang exposed to the outside environment. Sebab yang dalam tu, of course, it's almost impossible to control lah. Kalau even though when you use the synthetic insecticide, where bila kamu inject dekat pokok, dia akan transport throughout the fruits kan. Tapi remember, you want to harvest the fruit and we want to eat the fruit kan. So kalau kamu inject the systemic insecticide, dia akan angkut juga sampai ke buah, which is tak bagus untuk our health lah. So that's why for chemical control, usually we use only a spray pipe, okay, where to control only the adult. Okay, now we go to another Coleoptera, which is beetle. So beetle meaning that bukan Cucleonids lagi dah. Coleop, but another family. So here we have melon beetle, or we call it pumpkin beetle as well. So when you see melon or pumpkin, it's actually from the Cucurbitaceae punya family, right? So this insect, Aulocophora, there are two species, Foveocolis and Flavomarginata. You can differentiate based on the color, but this insect is actually specialized on cucurbit. So any type of Cucurbitaceae, sama ada kamu tanam melon, timun, rock melon, apa lagi, labu, mungkin squash, or other type of cucurbits. So it will become the host, suitable host for this beetle. Okay, so the damage, the larvae adult, the leaf of the larvae and adult attack the leaf of the eggplant. Eggplant ni jarang lah, selalunya ada juga. Cumanya it's more specialized on the cucurbits. Okay. Beetle feed between the vein. So kamu akan nampak dia akan tinggal jaring-jaring venation tu sahaja, and often cutting and removing circular disc which they eat. Circular disc maksudnya kawasan part yang tak ada venation sahaja. And then usually you can found the larvae above ataupun bahagian part atas daun, but or sometimes they also eat below bawah bahagian daun, but usually the larvae, the adult dekat bahagian atas, but sometimes also ada kat bawah, but the larvae usually focusing more on underside of the leaf, di bawah daun. And usually these insects, it can come out of nowhere. Maksudnya even pun katalah kamu duduk somewhere jauh daripada other area yang ada tanam this kind of cucurbits, but somehow this insect boleh pergi dekat your plant, your cucurbitaceae plant, even during seedling stages. Maksudnya kamu baru je tanam, tiba-tiba nampak dah kena attack by this insect. So it can it may develop ataupun dia mungkin ada infested the certain area which is we don't know. Tapi selalunya bila kamu tanam, there is a possibility that this melon or this beetle come during your seedling stage lagi. Okay, so when they attack seedling stage, so there is a possibility that heavy infestation will destroy the seedling lah, the tree, the plant itself. Otherwise, kalau pokok tu dah besar, you may see that certain part of the leaf infested ataupun kena makan by this beetle. So for the biology, usually they lay eggs in batch. So in batch maksudnya satu tempat setumpuk, mungkin ada up to mungkin ada 3, mungkin up to 5 in soil at the base of the cucurbit plant. So you may not see the eggs on the leaf. Okay, it's just that they develop in soil. Okay, the larvae may eat on the roots of the plant, or may eat the root of the weed or other plant yang ada di sekitar. It will pass through the 4 stage of instar, meaning that they molt 4 times. Okay. The development time is between 18 to 35 days for the larvae, and then the pupae also pupate in soil. Okay, it's just that here I put it larvae and adult also attack the leaf plant, but the larvae usually somehow it's very rare, since most of it adalah developed in the soil. So you may not see the larvae lah selalunya under the side of the leaf. It's just adult. Selalunya akan ada adult. Okay, and then it will pupate in soil. So let's say kalau dia ada dekat bahagian pokok, it will go down to the soil to pupate. Okay, but usually they already develop larvae to develop in soil dah terus, instead of develop on the plant. Okay, and then the adult will attack the plant lah. So the adult, depending on the species, Fovecolis and Flavomarginata, dia ada different color. For Flavomarginata have black elytra, meanwhile for the Fovecolis it's actually yellow in color. So yellow all the parts. But Flavomarginata, they have bahagian thorax and bahagian thorax and kepala here is yellow in color. Okay, this one is fully orange or reddish orange, and this is the symptoms of damage. Okay, they can eat many plant, or they have many hosts. It's just that cucurbit is the main host for this pest. Okay, you can see nampak dia punya venation je kan. It will eat either above leaf ataupun underside of the leaf. Maksudnya di bawah daun. Okay, this is total life cycle, 32 to 61 days. To control, we can use the same chemical tadi. Remember, we have deltametrin, cypermetrin, cyflutrin, profenifos, and etc. So you don't have to worry that some of the chemicals actually can be used to control many pests. Okay, and for the cultural, okay, you can do light irrigation that does not moisten the root. Make it, maksudnya light irrigation, you have to reduce the water sources. Okay, since the eggs that laid on the soil and the larvae that may develop in soil, and also the pupae may facing the desiccation problem. Maksudnya dia mungkin akan kekeringan bila kita jalankan light irrigation, kurangkan jumlah air yang kita siram lah dekat pokok. And then for the adult, we can use yellow sticky trap. Okay, yellow sticky trap is just a trap, a flat trap atau mungkin a piece of board, okay, yang ada glue, yang ada sticky substance dekat dia punya surface. So bila this adult landing on that surface, dia akan terperangkap lah. So it's actually sticky trap. And why is yellow? Okay, the color for the sticky trap is actually usually in form of two color. The first one is yellow, another one is blue. But the most common use is a yellow one, since most of the insects, okay, they attract to something brighter. Maksudnya they attract to light, something yang nampak macam terang. Okay, so that's why the yellow sticky trap is can be used to attract or to catch many things, many insects, not only this melon beetle. You can catch flies as well with yellow sticky trap. It's just that for the blue one, okay, usually it's specialized on to catch the insects that the adult or the larvae is actually a burrow, ataupun kita kata mungkin jenis yang menggali dekat daun. So it's more like kalau yang blue color tu dia punya kegunaan is more limited lah. Only certain insect attract to the blue color rather than the yellow one. Okay. And for biological, we can use Tachinid. Okay, Tachinid is actually the short words kita boleh write to see the to show the family Tachinidae. Tachinidae is actually a flies, okay, that how to say, is more like a soldier fly ataupun flies that eat on other organism, okay, or other insects, especially the small insects. And then there are also Reduvidae, which is hemipterans. Okay, previously I already mentioned you about the assassin bug. Okay, assassin bugs. Okay, so tu adalah Reduvidae, and there are also other organism like fungus, Beauveria bassiana. We can use it to control these insects since they have properties like entomopathogenic, meaning that it will become a pathogen to the insects. Okay, entomopathogenic, it will cause some sort of damage or maybe cause a disease to the insects. Okay, Epilagna species, ladybugs or lady beetles. Okay, the one yang kamu nampak, okay, ladybug kan, I think semua orang kenal kan, ada dot-dots. So usually for Epilagna species, the body is actually ada dots, like you said tadi dah, tumpuk bulat-bulat tu. It's just that depending on the species, whether the color mungkin a bit more like yellow, sometimes a bit more to orange. Okay, so it's depend on the species. And this is the defoliator for both larvae and adult. Okay, so adult pun makan daun and larvae pun makan daun. So they eat on the tender parenchyma of the leaf, usually from the underside, maksudnya di bawah daun, leaving the upper epidermis intact. So you may see the leaf, dia nampak macam transparent. Okay, sebab kat atas epidermis atas still intact, but underside of the leaf, parenchyma tu dah kena makan. The larvae also eat the leaf and usually more damage than the adults lah. Sebabnya why we say more damage than the adults, because the adult, if you disturb them, if you disturb the feeding activity, they may fly to another area. But for the larvae, dia akan develop on the leaf. Maksudnya dari first stages after hatching until lah dia jadi pupae dah tak makan lah, but until dia jadi pupae, dia akan keep eating on the same plant. Maksudnya duduk je atas tumbuhan yang sama. Okay, that's why they do much damage compared to the adult. And usually these insects also specialize on the cucurbit, sweet potato and its plant. As you can see here, Epilacna species, as well as we have Aulocophora tadi. So dia punya habit ataupun dia punya host is actually similar. Okay, cucurbit, sweet potato, eggplant, sama juga Aulocophora tadi pun ada the same they share the same host. And for the biology, the eggs yellow in color, about 1.3 millimeter in length, and glued in cluster. Okay, and the cluster can up to 75. This is very extreme numbers lah, 75 ni. Usually it's less than that under the underside of the leaf. And larvae usually yellow, pill shape. Dia, since mak dia bulat, right? You can imagine lady beetles, okay, bulat macam tu. So the larvae also almost stout. Maksudnya bulat macam tu juga. Or we can say it's a pill shape. Okay, and then usually is spiny. So dia punya badan covered macam seolah-olah berduri, and around 1.5 millimeter in length when first emerge, and grow up to 1 centimeter long before the pupation. Okay, the larva attach its anal segment to the underside of the leaf and hang there to pupate. Okay, maksudnya dia develop into pupae. The pupae also some of the part the pupae tu dia nanti akan retain like macam there are also part of spiny part on the body as well. From the larvae usually memang spiny, but for the pupae, okay, bila dia bertukar jadi pupae, there are also part yang ada spiny tu, cumanya mungkin a bit lesser than the larvae one. Later I will show you the picture. So pupation period lasts around 5 to 10 days. And the adult, of course, oval in shape, you already know dia punya rupa, bearing the black spot on each elytron. Remember, this is the beetle. So the forewing kita panggil elytron, which is hardened part of the wing. Okay. Meanwhile, the punya hind wing is actually membranous, folded under the elytron. Remember, this is the characteristic of the beetle. Okay, this is the picture of the Epilacna species. So as you can see, both ada dua contoh kat sini kan. Satu, the different color is bit yellow. This one is more like a reddish orange. Okay. This is Epilacna indica, the one, the orange one, I don't know the species, okay. But this one is Epilacna indica. It's the most common one that you may found in our region or our area. Okay, this is the shape of the leaf, shape of the eggs. Okay, and then the larvae, as you can see, dia punya body It's very spiny. Okay, and this is the pupae. Okay, as you can see here, like I said, some part of the pupae is still retain dia punya spiny part, but there are, kalau nampak kat sini, the part yang anterior, which is part of the head. Of course, you cannot see the head lah sebab the development is inside, okay, inside the pupae. But for the anterior part, dia dah less spiny. Okay, this is the pupae, and the damage, as you can see here, okay, dia makan bahagian bawah daun, parenchyma underside of the leaf. So it will tinggal part yang atas yang kamu nampak dia macam seolah-olah macam transparent, macam cermin. Okay. This the last picture also show the larvae of this Epilagna. So the life cycle is shorter than the Aulocophora tadi, around 19 to 28 days. You can use the same chemical like detametrin, cypermethrin, cyflutrin, okay, to control these insects. Sanitation, okay, disrupt the habitat, meaning that you may need to clear the area to remove weeds and so on that may become the alternate host for this pest. And for the biological, we have parasitoid Ulophidae. Okay, Ulophid is from the Ulophidae is Hymenoptera. Okay, wasps atau penyengat. It's a very small. When we say parasitoid, the size is usually very small, and this wasps is actually parasitized either on the eggs or the larvae itself. Okay, so this is the function of biological control. Usually biological control doesn't work on the adults sebab as you can see the adult dah ada hardened bodies compared to the larvae which is soft body, and also mungkin eggs which is more fragile kan. So usually the biological control other than predator, when we are talking about parasitoid, so they usually parasitize stages like eggs, pupae, and sometimes eggs, larvae, and sometimes pupae. Okay. Okay, now we have 15 seconds, please. Do you think this insect also called ladybugs or lady beetles? Okay, now we proceed to borer. Okay, this is also a beetle. It's just that as you can see here, it has different family. Tadi we have Cucullionid, and then we have Chrysomelid, and then we have Coccinellid. So different family, and we have another one here is Cerambicidae. Okay, the Cerambicidae, the larvae is actually borer, so it will bore into the young shoot and then migrate into the woody part, which is trunk. Okay, and this is specialized on mango, meaning that rather than compared to Stenocatus tadi yang feed on the fruits, this one attack the tree. Okay, so the damage, the larvae bore into the tops of young shoot, and from there gradually migrate into the older woods, and sometimes can be found on the trunk. Okay, so they have a circular tunnel which is bored just beneath the bark, with the result that branch break off at this point. Maksudnya kat sini, okay, it will tunnel sometimes. Sometimes dia akan the adults, okay, will lay eggs at the young shoot, where maksud tu kat situ dia punya part bahagian still soft kan, still lembut. So the larvae dia akan develop dari hujung, dari young shoot, but move around to the hardened area, the hardened part. Tapi move around dalam batang lah. You can imagine dari batang yang awalnya is just a young shoot and then migrate to the part yang a bit hardened and then until the trunk. So dari hujung dahan, you can imagine dari hujung dahan, hujung pucuk and then masuk ke dahan and then ke batang besar. So sometimes usually kalau macam due to strong wind, the infested area, okay, since kat dalam tu you can imagine dia dah make tunnel, right? So bahagian pokok tu just ada covered kat luar, bulk tu just ada yang dekat luar sahaja. Or sometimes kalau dia tak deep, go deeper pun dia mungkin just beneath the bulk. So usually bila strong wind dia akan menyebabkan kawasan yang infested tu patah. So usually the orchard that have a very severe infestation of Rhytidodera simulans ni, okay, mango stem borer ni. So you can see that banyak ranting-ranting, bukan small ranting but macam banyak dahan-dahan pokok akan jatuh after the strong wind. Sebabnya pokok tu dah kena infest, batang dia dah kena tebuk. So dah dalam tu dah berlubang, okay. And for the biology, like I said tadi, the female lay eggs on the small branch or the part yang young shoot tadi, and then the eggs will develop within 7 to 10 days. And then after the eggs hatch, the larvae akan move around the punya life cycle, since they can move around from young shoot until the trunk. So you can imagine the punya larvae have a very long life cycle, okay, around 108 to 360 days, okay, 360 hari, almost tahun kan, macam. So you can imagine dari young shoot dia akan move sampai ke trunk around 360 days. Okay, since and then of course since they move around from young shoot ke part yang hardened, okay, they have the strong mandible untuk makan bahagian infested lah. And for the pupae, it lasts around 30 days, 20 to 30 days. Usually sometimes develop in soil, but the detail unknown, because sometimes you can found the newly emerged adult dekat bahagian part yang patah atau yang jatuh tadi due to the strong wind. So there is a possibility that they actually pupate on the trunk as well. Okay, but it's just that detail is unknown. Okay, for the adult, they have dark brown colors and the upper side of the body and tawny colors at the underside of the body. Okay, at the elytra is covered with transverse patterns pubuses. The eyes is black with half part of the eyes surrounded the base of the antenna. The body length, just the body part sahaja, is around 30 mm. Okay, 3 mm, you can imagine 30, just a body part. But they have a very long antenna. For the Cerambicidae, the main characteristic is the long antenna. Okay, this is the picture. Okay, this is the adult. As you can see, the long antenna, and the antenna is almost serrate. Okay, serrate macam gergaji. You can imagine serrate is a gergaji. Okay, and then the head here. Okay, this is the eyes. And the eyes ni usually bentuk mata dia instead of bulat, dia seolah-olah bentuk C. Okay, C terbalik lah, C and then C terbalik tu, and then dekat tengah C tu is actually base of the how to say, the antenna. So the eyes actually macam seolah-olah covered a base of the antenna, sebab mata dia tu bentuk seolah-olah macam C, and then kat tengah C tu ada base of the antenna. And antenna is very long. Again, I said the body is also, as you can see here, it's more slender kan, compared to the one yang kamu tengok Aulocophora tadi, the stalked one. This one is more slender, and this is the shape of the larvae. Okay, it's actually legless, so larvae tak ada kaki, and then but have very strong mandible. And when in the infested area, okay, sometimes you can see the large trunk, large hole where they remove the frass ataupun kita kata bahan buangan bila dah makan kan, habuk-habuk ni is actually we call it frass from the hole. Maksudnya ada part yang dia tebuk lubang untuk keluarkan dia punya bahan buangan atau frass ni. So for the symptoms, you usually see that plant or trees that infested by this insect, dia akan keluarkan getah sebab this one is actually specialized on Anacardiaceae ataupun kita kata keluarga mango. Okay, so Anacardiaceae ciri dia adalah pokok tu mengeluarkan getah or exudate sticky exudate. So bila ditebuk kat dalam, getah ni of course akan keluar. As you can see in the picture, so there is a frass mixed with the sticky exudate. Because of this plant, dia create atau dia keluarkan getah. So when the feeding activity berlaku dalam batang, so of course getah akan keluar, right? And together with the frass excreted by these insects. So this is the picture of where the infested part dekat batang yang dah jatuh, okay, after the strong wind. So as you can see, hanya certain areas je sebenarnya yang attached yang menyebabkan pokok tu terlekat. So bila strong wind, of course tempat ni akan patah lah because other parts already infested by these insects. So life cycle is around 4 to 13 months, okay, setahun. Eggs to pupae, more than sometimes more than 1 year lah. But usually yang paling lama adalah development of the larvae. Okay, bukan adult. Okay, for the control, we can use dimethoate, chemical control of the insect pest, generally not so effective due to a cryptic habitat of the insect. Since here I put it, we can use dimethoate, but since the adult is not very, how to say, you cannot usually see the adult lah. Jarang nak jumpa the adult unless you may cut the trunk yang mungkin dah jatuh kan. There is a possibility that you found the adult there. And then when we use chemical, dimethoate is actually for macam spray. Usually to control this insect, since it's borer, okay, it was suggested to use the type of synthetic insecticide where mungkin kamu boleh inject the chemical masuk dalam trunk and then chemical tu akan ditransport ke seluruh bahagian pokok. So that's how chemical work lah rather than just spray. Okay, and then for cultural control, of course orchard sanitation, okay, kena remove yang fallen branch since like I said there is a possibility you found pupae and also the adults there. So if you don't remove these fallen branches, then there is a possibility that insect tu akan still develop in your orchard area. So even though your prune part yang jatuh pun kalau tak buang, the infestation will continue lah, right? And then for the one yang mungkin belum lagi patah dan jatuh, so you may do the pruning, the one at the initial stage of the infestation. Sebabnya bila dia start infest, you can see like I said, plant ni keluarkan exudate kan. So sometimes sebelum sampai trunk dekat yang dahan kecil tu, you can see the sign of the exudate ni dah. So there is a possibility that insect tu dah infest. Cumanya masih lagi di peringkat awal. So if you do the pruning process, maksudnya buang certain branch and then remove from the area of the orchard. So it's most likely work to control this mango stem borer. And for biological unknown, for the biological is unknown, but there is a entomopathogenic nematode which is potential to be used if we found that the pupae is actually pupae in soil. Otherwise, it won't work. Sebab nematode is actually on the inside the soil. So they can only control the pupae. So if this insect actually can pupate on the trunk or inside the trunk before jatuh dekat tanah, so this nematode of course it won't work lah kan, sebab mana boleh nematode ni nak masuk ke dalam pokok, ke atas batang. So they just act in the soil. Okay, so before we go to red cotton stanner, there are a lot more. Okay, I give you around 3 minutes, okay, to go to toilet and so on, to ask question and so on. Okay, so is there any question you can ask now? Okay, can I continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the slide kan, red cotton stainer. Okay, so here is the different order. Okay, tadi kita dah tengok beetles, all the beetle weevils and so on. So under Coleoptera. Now we have different order which is hemipterans, okay, from family Pherochoridae, okay, or red cotton stanner, Discus cingulatus. Okay, the damage bila kita cakap pasal hemipteran, so it's actually sap-sucking insects. Okay, so dia makan sap or plant sap. Okay, both nymph and adult sucking the sap of the plant, and the host is actually you may easily found this insect if you plant okra, cotton, citrus, quite rare. Okay, or if you plant roselle, okay, juga you can see this kind of insects on the plant. Okay, so usually roselle, okra, cotton and sometimes citrus lah. Cumanya yang paling banyak when you plant roselle and okra. Okay, so usually when the adult, dia sucking sap either from the plant itself, maksudnya dari bahagian pokok tu, sama ada batang ataupun young shoot. Okay, but they also can feed on the ball ataupun when we say that dalam kes ni cotton, okay, ball tu refers to cotton lah. It's actually a fruit of the plant tu. Maksudnya dia boleh makan ataupun sucking the sap from the fruits. Like kalau kamu tanam roselle, part roselle tu lah kan yang we consider as a ball, ataupun fruits dekat okra. Maksudnya lady's finger, okra, bendy, okay. So dia akan suck the sap. So bila dia suck sap from the part or from the fruit part, so they will the content ataupun inside tu macam seed and so on tu, dia mungkin akan jadi discolored ataupun akan rosak. Dia punya seed akan lose viability sebab dia dah suck all the sap from the seed or from the fruit part. So usually, okay, this insect or these bugs gregarious in habit. Gregarious meaning that you cannot you not only found one insect, maksudnya dia selalunya appear dalam group yang besar. So kalau kamu jumpa satu, there is a possibility ada a lot more on the same plant. Okay, jarang sangat dia nak ada satu je. So gregarious meaning dia appear in large number. Okay, and then for the biology, usually the eggs will lay on the soil, in the soil, and then the period of development is 4 to 7 days. And the nymphs, okay, once they hatch, the nymphs akan terus panjat pokok tadi. Maksudnya dia akan naik ke pokok untuk feed lah. So the nymph will undergo 6 instar. So you can imagine dia akan molt until become the adults. Okay, and the nympha stages around 26 to 89 days. Okay, and nymph reddish with white band on the abdomen and black marking on the forewing. Meanwhile, for the adult, it has a red and black in color with a white stripe ventrally on the abdomen. The length is around 12 to 18 mm. So 1.2 hingga 1.8 cm. Okay, this is the picture. Okay, as you can see here, this is the adult. Okay, kamu nampak atas dia punya sayap. Okay, why dia punya sayap ada 2 color. As you can see here, okay, satu part bahagian warna hitam and another part is orange with dot. Okay, why is this happen? Remember that hemipterans has hemelytra, which is flowing, half part is thickened, half part is membranous. Okay, so imagine dia ada ni yang kamu nampak atas is actually the flowing. Okay, so flowing, distal part is actually membranous part. Okay, yang where you see in this insect color a bit darker like black, right? but for which is membranous. Okay, but for the one that attached to the body, okay, is actually the a bit where we the part is more thickened. Okay, so half part thickened, half part membranous. We call it as hemelytra, separuh. So this is the hemipterans kan. So dia ada hemelytra. This is the picture of adult where you can see development of the fully developed wing. But while in nymphs, dia punya characteristic almost similar like adult. Cumanya as you can see here, they still have no wing, sometimes only with wing pads. Maksudnya ada pad sahaja, wing tu not fully developed yet, but the colour also difference. Okay, yang ni nampak more reddish and the dots is actually white in colour. Okay, and they gregarious, meaning that you found a lot rather than single individual. And when they feed on this one is cotton and this one is okra. Okay, so instead of grow or develop well, maksudnya sepatutnya okra tu kan akan straight kan, kamu nampak yang cantik dia akan straight. So usually when infested by this insect, since they feed on plant sap, so perkembangan buah akan terbantut. So you can see that mungkin buah ni akan jadi melengkung, and sometimes insect tu akan feed on the seed, feed on the sap of the seed, so the seed no longer viable. And if the infestation actually happen when the fruit is still young, maksudnya still muda, there is a possibility that dia akan gugur sebelum matang lah. This kind of fruits. Okay, life cycle around 58 to 97 days. To control, we have chemical like fluvalinate and endosulfans. For cultural control, of course, sanitation, one of it. And you can plough the field to expose the eggs. Maksudnya you do macam apa, tillage, like a tillage kan, plough the field, and then so that the punya egg tadi, which is yang they lay eggs on the soil, akan expose. So bila expose to environment, it will desiccate atau kekeringan. So that's how the cultural work. And then the balls, okay, the one that katalah kalau dia aggregate on the ball. So the ball ni maksudnya fruits tadi, you can shaken in the water, and then of course insect tu akan jatuh dalam air dan drown lah. Okay, it's just that for shaken activity ni it will need a lot of human resource, or you may need to spend more time lah to control using cultural method. And for biological, there are Reduvidae, also hemipterans. Okay, it's just from different family, assessing bug tadi, Reduvid. Okay, also predaceous atau predator to nymphs, and as well as adult of this insect. The size is almost similar in size. Reduvid dengan Dysdacus cingulatus is actually almost similar in size. It's just that kalau usually Reduvid ni dia akan attack the nymph, the one yang smaller stage tadi. Okay, remember when we are talking about hemipterans, they're going through incomplete metamorphosis. So complete one, we have larvae and pupa, but incomplete, we have nymphs. Okay, nymphs almost similar like the adult characteristic. And another one we have also hemipterans, but different family, Pentatomidid, Nezzara viridula, green sting bug. The Damish, they are highly polyphagous. Of course, they feed on plant sap as well. Okay, but this insect can host of many plants. Maksudnya dia boleh duduk atas, can eat on many plant, many hosts, including monocot and dicot. And they will puncture the fruits, so they cause hardened, brownish or black spot on the fruits. And if the fruits cannot develop, so it will become retard. This is due to heavy infestation lah. Otherwise, kalau sekali serang saja, there is a possibility that the fruit can grow. And if the fruit retarded, and often they will drop from the plant, maksudnya gugur sebelum matang. For the biology, the eggs, the female lay eggs around 30 to 130 at the same times, and usually it's glued on to the bottom of the leaf. So selalunya dia punya eggs bawah daun, bukan atas daun, di bawah bahagian daun. And barrel shape with opening at top. Maksudnya dia glue part bawah base dekat daun, and then nanti dia punya anak nymphs akan emerge, akan hatch from the eggs dekat bahagian atas, which is dia seolah-olah macam opening. Dia macam kamu imagine barrel ataupun basin yang ada penutup, and then penutup tu akan terbuka and then come out the nymph from the inside of the eggs lah. Okay, the nymph molt 5 times, and the adult length is around 12.1 millimeter. Female is bigger. Usually all the insect female is bigger. Okay, the body is bright green and shield shape. Bentuk macam shield perisai. The body bright green and eyes usually reddish, but they also can become black. Okay, as you can see here, okay, this is development of different stages. Okay, this one, yang green one, kamu nampak dia bentuk macam perisai, right? Perisai, okay, and the shape juga almost slightly more like macam, dia macam more elongated compared to the early stage of nymph. Okay, yang colour hitam kat sini, as you can see, this is the earlier stage of nymph. And then later the nymph akan develop jadi yang bahagian bawah ni. Okay, this is the a bit mature nymphs, and this is the adult. So as you can see, dia punya coloration and as well as shape juga berubah for this insects. Okay, this is the one that I said, the glue, dia punya eggs like this, and then as you can see, kalau clear, you can see the atas ni dia seolah-olah nampak macam penutup. Okay, and then penutup ni akan terbuka, and then insect tu will hatch atau come out from the eggs. Okay, this is the picture of infested fruits. Okay, as you can see, dia sulk akan tinggal blackened part macam ni dekat fruits lah. Sometimes fruit ni akan nampak macam distort rather than develop well. Okay, this is the life cycle up to 70 days. To control, it's chemical only when used when necessary. Okay, sebab this insect is actually not a main pest. It can attack many hosts. It's just that rather than aggregates, okay, compared to Pherochoridae tadi, they usually cause less damage. That's why chemical only used when necessary. Okay, and then for cultural control, we can do crop sanitation. We can plant trap crops. Trap crop is where crop yang mungkin boleh menarik perhatian dia lagi lah, instead of pergi dekat your harvested crop. Itu we call it trap crop. And for biological control, there are a few insects like tachinid fly, which can parasitize on adult, and then there are also wasps that can parasitize on eggs. Okay, so there are many parasitoid that may become biological control for these insects. Okay, then another question. Okay. So now we go to another order, which is Lepidoptera. Lepidoptera, okay, which is moth and butterfly, keluarga moth and butterfly. Okay, armyworm, Spodoptera litura. Why they got army nama kat depan ni? Because of the aggregate habit. Okay, so dia akan muncul banyak-banyak. And then the adults usually lay eggs a lot lah. Maksudnya bukan sebiji atau satu-satu. They lay eggs a lot. The eggs, okay, in term of Lepidopterans, the most the best stages is actually larvae compared to the adult, where the adult only eat on the nectaris part. Okay, nectaris like honey and so on lah. So the most damaging one is actually the larvae. And the larvae, when we are talking about knotweed, most of it adalah defoliator. So dia akan makan daun, especially your vegetables lah. Sebab compared to the large trees, the leaf of vegetable usually it's more macam more soft, more how to say, lagi lembut compared to the large tree. So usually you may find this armyworm on the vegetables, either like crucifer, spinach, ipomia, like tadi keluarga kangkung, okay, tomato, beans and so on. And for these insects, okay, when the adult lay eggs, dia akan lay satu batch. Okay, bila dia lay satu batch, it will how to say, dia akan cabut some part of dia punya bulu, okay, or hair dekat bahagian abdomen untuk cover dia punya telur. This is some sort of protection to their egg mass. Okay, so setumpuk tu nanti dia akan letak dia punya bulu-bulu scale dari badan female tu, dia akan cabut and then put on the to cover dia punya egg mass. Later we will see the picture. Okay, so the larvae is hairless. Maksudnya tak ada bulu. Okay, tadi scale tu just letak untuk cover the eggs. When they hatch, the larvae hairless, variable in color. As you can see, waktu the small instar ataupun small stages, it's actually light green, and later it will turn into dark brown depending on the stage. And then, okay, there are also certain band, longitudinal band yang mungkin appear, how to say, appear clearly, okay, when the larvae develop, okay, and then they pupate in soil, okay, meaning that after they feed on the plant, okay, bila tiba sampai dia nak pupate, they will go down to the soil and then pupate in soil, which is dark brown in color, suitable dengan color soil lah kan, for the mimicry or discoloration tadi. And then development time is around 8 to 10 days. Okay, the size around 15 to 20 mm long. And the adult usually for the armyworms, okay, knotweed is actually moth. So the adult active at night. The length of wingspan is around 40 mm, but the body is around 20 mm length. Okay, and then forewing grey to reddish brown with strong variated pattern and paler line along the wing. Usually, okay, when we are talking about moth, okay, knotweed, almost dia punya colour adalah grey to reddish brown. You won't see the colourful one. The colourful one is actually butterfly. Okay, most of the adult for moth, colour dia tak cantik. There are a few groups like Limacoridae, they may have some brighter colour like orange, white and so on, but tak ada colour purple, biru, no. That one is only for butterfly. Okay, this is the picture of the adult larvae, the aggregate of the larvae. Okay, and then this is the egg mass tadi. Yang pink ni adalah actually bulu di bahagian abdomen yang dicabut oleh dia punya mother to cover the eggs. And when they feed on the plant, okay, dia akan jadi what we call it skeletonized. Dia akan tinggal ranting semata-mata because of the aggregation habit of the larvae. Sebab tu kita panggil army worm. Dia tak akan wujud seekor, dia selalunya wujud in aggregate. So army like macam tentera ramai kan. So banyak individual sekali dekat satu tempat. And to control, their life cycle is around 31 days, sebulan. To control, we have permethrin, deltametrin, the same chemical that we can use to control beetle tadi kan. Okay, and cultural control, sanitation. Biological control, there are certain wasps that actually parasitoid to the larvae as well as the eggs of the armyworms. Okay, now we have bean pod borer, Maruca testutalis, different family which is spiralid, and the size of this moth is more smaller than a knotweed. But when we say about bean pod borer, meaning that they specialize on bean pod, not on the plant itself, but only on the bean. So dia akan serang bahagian kacang tu sahaja. Okay, bean pod borer maksudnya dia akan bore deep into the bean pod. Okay, so you will see that there is a hole tempat dia masuk selalunya dekat corolla of the flowers. Okay, ni bila kalau dia not yet develop into the bean pod, but usually kalau dia dah masuk dekat bean pod, you will see that dia punya lubang tempat dia masuk tadi is actually dekat tangkai, berhampiran dengan tangkai. Sometimes ada juga yang tebuk dekat tengah-tengah lah. You can imagine kacang panjang, okay. So dekat bahagian yang attached to the plant, dekat tangkai. And then you can see the frost also, okay. Bila dia burrow ataupun menggali dalam kacang, so frost tadi, bahan buangan, dia akan keluarkan dari tempat dia punya lubang masuk tadi. So dia akan remove dekat situ since they will move around inside the bean pod borer kan. So frost akan dibuang keluar. So you will see the mass of brownish frost. For biology, the eggs is very small, 0.4 mm, late in batch. Even though late in batch, okay, you won't found more than more than 5, takkan ada lah dekat satu tangkai kacang tadi, no. So usually you may found mungkin 2-3 around that way sahaja dalam satu kacang panjang. Okay, it depend on the size of the bean pod as well. And larvae greenish white with brown head, 2 pairs of dark spot on the back of each segment. So kamu nampak dekat bahagian atas badan, setiap segmen badan ada 2 spot, kiri dan kanan. Okay, and then pupae in cocoon inside roll leaf. Sometimes you may see mungkin bukan inside roll leaf, maybe near the area of the dekat lubang yang dia buat untuk masuk tanah. Cumanya dia takkan pupate dalam kacang tadi lah, dia will pupate outside. Okay, for adult, forewing light brown color with white marking, meanwhile hind wing white color with brown marking at the lateral edge. Okay, this is the picture. Very small than the knotweed tadi. As you can see, dekat segmen nampak pairs of dot kan. So satu kat sini, satu kat sini. So around macam we can see that one segment ada 2 pairs of dot, ada 4 dot. This is the hole, like I said, lubang tadi, and you can see here the frost. Okay, ni bahagian part tangkai, dia akan keluarkan dia punya frost kat sini, lubang dia masuk and so on, and then they will pupate outside of the bean. Life cycle 19 to 27 days. Control, you can use the same chemical. And for cultural, okay, we can use the resistance and tolerance cultivar. This one is depending on the breeding lah. Maksudnya if you can have the tolerance cultivar, meaning that the plant boleh tahan ataupun mungkin not preferable for the pest to lay eggs or to eat on that kind of cultivar. And then you can also do intercropping with other plant like maize. Or intercropping, the purpose is just to distract the punya attention. Maksudnya bila kamu tanam selang-selang dengan pokok which is not their host, okay, macam like maize ni bukan host kepada bean pod borer, okay, jagung bukan host kepada bean pod borer, so dia akan distract dia punya attention. Sebab kamu dah tanam intercropping. Intercropping maksudnya kamu tanam campur sebaris kacang, sebaris jagung, sebaris kacang, sebaris jagung. So when you do like that, okay, dia seolah-olah macam tak jumpa dia punya host. Okay, it will reduce the percentage of the infestation lah when you do intercropping. And for biological control, there are family like parasitoid tadi. This one is Braconid, Ichneumoniid and Tachinid. Braconid, Ichneumoniid adalah wasps, okay, keluarga Hymenopterans. Meanwhile, Tachinidae adalah dipterans, Diptera. Okay, the next moth, we have diamondback moth, Rutella xylostella or DBM. Okay, this one is the famous one when you are talking about pests of crucifers. Keluarga cabbage, mustard, broccoli, kailan, sawi. So all the kind of crucifers is actually host for this DBM, diamondback moth. And the larvae is defoliator. So the symptoms is almost similar. Dia akan makan sampai tinggal seolah-olah macam skeleton. Okay, sama macam like armyworm tadi. And for the biology, it's usually singly or small group. Small group meaning that around 3 to 5, dia bukannya satu batch yang banyak. And usually laid on lower surface of the leaf, maksudnya underside of the leaf, di bawah daun. Development time average 5 to 6 days. This one is 5 to 6 days, bukan point. Okay, larvae has 4 instar, around 4 to 5 days as well. Okay, and pale to green in color. The thing about larvae is that when you disturb the larvae, it's wrinkle. Maksudnya dia akan wrinkle ni maksudnya how to say? Dia akan erratically move. Okay, violently. So dia tak macam seolah-olah nampak macam lari ke tak, dia wrinkle. Okay, and then sometimes mungkin drop from the drop dari tempat yang dia stay. Maksudnya dia akan jatuh, dia akan turun ataupun detach themselves dari tempat yang dia stay tadi, tempat yang dia makan tadi. But instead of fall down into the soil and so on, okay, dia selalunya hanging with a strand of silk. Maksudnya dia ada how to say, bukan netting, dia macam ada tali halus tergantung. Silk diperbuat dari macam silk lah yang produced by the larvae itself. Okay, so instead of fall down, jatuh dekat soil, mungkin dari part atas daun dia akan tergantung hanging and then mungkin attached to low level of leaf. Kan pokok kan kita ada banyak level of leaf, so dari atas dia mungkin akan tergantung, dia jatuh ke bawah. So that's how they run away from the predator and so on. Okay, and then pupate greenish to yellow. Okay, around 24 hours development time, and usually covered with white cocoon. Cocoon ni it made from the silk yang produced by the larvae tadi. Okay, and then it will cover the larvae, and then larvae tu akan change into pupae inside the cocoon. So the one yang create the cocoon first adalah the larvae, last stage of the larvae. And adult is very small size, around 6 to 5 mm, wingspan around 17 mm. And the name diamondback ni is because of the shape of the pattern on the wing, bentuk macam diamond. Dia seolah-olah ada 3 diamond on the wing yang tersusun. And the lifespan for this one is lifespan for eggs to adult, not adult sahaja. Lifespan from eggs to adult is around 15 to 17 days. Okay, this is the picture of the damage. Picture of pupae, the adults. Okay, this adult mungkin kamu tak nampak clear. If you can see the from above kan, kalau kita tengok boleh nampak dari atas, it's actually seolah-olah macam ada 3 diamond kat sini. The shape, the pattern on the wing. And this is the larvae. Okay, as you can see. Okay, mungkin heavy defoliation akan buat the plant akan jadi skeletonized lah. So to control, we have avimethin, fipronil, profenifos, deltamethrin. As you can see, deltamethrin and profenifos ni keep appearing kan. So maksudnya the same chemical you can use to control many type of pests. And crop sanitation, and there are specific, parasitoid, okay, parasite, Cortesia plutella, which is braconate, yang memang parasitize on Plutella xylostella. As you can see, dia punya nama pun kan, Cortesia plutella, Plutella refers to Plutella, this one, xylostella. So dia memang specialized on this diamond bed moth. And there are also other pathogens like Bacillus thuringiensis that can be used to control this kind of pests. And then we have cabbage worm, okay, Pieris rapae, also defoliator. Okay, this one is a bit bigger, and this one, Pieris, is actually butterfly. Instead of moth, it's butterfly. Okay, they have colors. You can read this part, okay, the larvae, pupae, and adult. But here I want to show you the colors, okay. The adult mostly color this one, like yellow to orange in color. Dia tak ada color lain. Just white, around white to yellow or dark yellow. Okay, this is only the color. And of course, here is the male. The one with brighter color is male and less brighter is female. Okay, this is the damage done, almost similar like other Lepidopterans, but it's just that the pupae, okay, cocoon, dia punya cocoon ni, but having no seal lah untuk cover dia punya kat luar, dia tak ada seal. Okay, this is the control using diazinon, and then you can also do sanitation, intercropping, and then for biological control, there are a pentatomid, which is predator that feed on larvae, and then there are also pupal parasitoid, Pteromalus ni from Pteromalidae. Okay, we have banana skipper, Arionata threads, which is have spirit. Okay, this is also moth, but slightly different, okay, because instead of flying like other moth and butterfly, they usually skip atau jump dari satu pokok ke satu pokok, atau it can fly. It's just that the habit is more like jumping dari one part to another part. Okay, so the leaf here, when we are talking about banana, this insect or this pest actually feed on the leaf. Okay, they will cut the leaf and then roll the leaf part tu akan jadi macam gulung. Later we will see the picture. Okay, the biology, the eggs singly. Okay, so you may see satu roll, just satu insect sahaja or satu individual sahaja. And larvae pale green to white, usually white and covered with silky hair. And then the they have what we call it macam conspicuous neck yang sambung antara part kepala and then abdomen. So dia seolah-olah macam part thorax, so dia seolah-olah macam leher mengecil dekat part thorax. Later we will see juga. Mature larva covered with waxy powder, white waxy powder, and full grown around 6 mm. Okay, period of larvae up to 30 days, 1 month. And pupae also cylinder and covered with powder as the larvae. And adult wingspan around this size, okay, 5.5 mm. Wing brown chocolate. Okay, the color since it's moth, remember Hesperid is moth. And then color dia tak cantik juga, brown chocolate. And there are these 3 discal pale ochraceous spot ni, maksudnya lighter color or lighter spot on the wing yang mungkin a bit more orange. Okay, like this one. Okay, dia akan ada 3 color dekat forewing. Okay, as you can see here, dia punya larvae seolah-olah nampak macam ada leher, kepala besar, okay, part kat sini kecil, and then there are thorax, and then this one is the abdomen. And they have pseudoleg, remember kaki palsu to support the punya movement. And rather than dia punya sayap, rather than duduk horizontal or vertical, okay, dia selalunya at different angle. Maksudnya dia terbuka seolah-olah macam bentuk V. Okay, instead of flat, horizontal or vertical. Okay, ni dia punya gulung daun. So inside you may see the larvae and also the pupae. This is the eggs. Okay, this is the chemical Pyrethrum spinosad. Okay, cultural, we have crop sanitation, and then biological, Cotessia erinote, and other things. You have to remember certain things, okay? Example of the certain biological control method and so on. Okay, now we have fruit fly, which is dipterans, okay? Bactocera. This one is attack almost all the fruits. So either you have vegetable fruits like macam labu, okay, timun, or maybe juga attack your papaya or other kind of fruits. So the host is very wide or broad, okay, and then there are the eggs is wide, elongated. You usually cannot see very clearly the punya eggs, okay, but the larvae is a maggot, so it will found inside the infested fruits, 3 install stages, and pupal usually in soil. Okay, selalunya bila fruit tu dah jatuh, gugur kan, fruit tu dah rosak, gugur, and then it will come out from the fruits and then pupate in soil. The adults usually have patterned wing as well as body. So some of the species, they have very bright color like orange and with a dot. And the development time is 5 to 7 days. Okay. And remember, this is the dipterans. So you can see dia punya forewing hanya ada sepasang forewing sahaja, dia tak ada hindwing. Where hindwing dah modify jadi haltear. Okay. Okay, this is the picture. This is very common. You may not see the adult, but the larvae is usually very common. Okay, they have a bright pattern. Some of the species have fully hyaline wing, maksudnya dia transparent, tak ada pattern. Some of it ada patterns. And for the female, they have ovipositor to insert dia punya eggs into the fruits. Okay, this is the control. You can read by your own, almost similar like others. It's just that some of the biological control may specialize on certain insects lah. Maksudnya certain parasitoid may act on certain insects. But other things like cultural and chemical, you can use almost similar methods, so almost similar things. Okay, there are others which is also important, but here I just put the name here. You can read all by yourself here, but I will show you the picture. Okay, here we have Helicoverpa amigera. They feed almost on all vegetable fruits. Okay, vegetable fruits like macam okra, we have chilies, this one is tomato. Okay, so they will bore inside, the larvae will bore inside and feed inside the fruits. And we have Her's convolvi, which is fingid, okay, also moth. Okay, this one specialize or eat on Ipomia batatas ataupun kita kata tadi sweet potato tadi. Okay, the larvae is leaf defoliator. It will eat on the leaf. And then we have Haplothrips. Okay, this one is very small insects. Okay, usually you may find it almost all on all plants. As long as dia berbunga, selalunya memang akan ada type of thrips, either Haplothrips or other species of thrips. And then we have Papiliodemolius and Papiliopolites, which is Papilionidae, okay, butterfly that specialize on citrus. So any type of citrus, kamu tanam limau jenis apa, this one will attack your plant. The larvae is leaf defoliator, but the adult is the pollinator. Okay, and then we have Diporus marginatus and Basilicta musae, which is beetles and vivo. This one is beetle and this one is vivo. Okay, that feed on Anacardiaceae leaf. Maksudnya Anacardiaceae adalah keluarga mango. So any type of mango, any type of plant that fall under Anacardiaceae, you will see this insect as their pest lah. And then we have Bermesia tabaki, the white fly, okay, Hemipterans, that feed on plant sap, okay, almost on of many plants lah. Maksudnya banyak plant, especially vegetable fruits. Okay, this is the picture of the damage. This one caused by here Helicoverpa amigera. As you can see, dia punya, this is tunnel where they dig untuk masuk. Okay, on chilies. And then this one is the damage caused by Diporus marginatus. Okay, as you can see dekat young shoot of mango, you can see either this insect cut leaf. Okay, maksudnya nampak kesan kena potong daun, but it's actually cut by these insects where they lay eggs, and lay eggs tu nanti dekat bahagian yang daun yang dipotong tu akan jatuh ke tanah and then develop on the soil. Okay, rather than develop on the plant. Okay, the young shoot, bila dia kesan dari kena makan, dia akan kekeringan macam ni lah. And this is the Bermesia tabaki. You can see the sign kalau tak nampak adult. This is underside of the leaf. You may see the white residue ataupun white wax underside of the leaf. Okay, it may form into this spiral form depending on the species, ataupun juga jadi macam ni lah, tak nampak dah spiral ni, where the heavily infested plant. Contohnya under guava. This one is guava leaf. And then we have here, this is the larvae of Papilionid tadi, Demolius. And then this one is Her's convolvi, the one that eat on the Ipomia batatas ataupun keledek ya. So di defoliator, you see dah tinggal batang semata-mata. Okay, and then last one we have aphid. Okay, this one is a hemipterans, also plant sucking insect. As you can see, you may found the normal one